Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are diving into Ormat Technology's latest proxy statement, but don't worry, it's not as boring as it sounds. This report reveals some interesting insights about who's in charge, how they're paid, and what direction the company is heading. We will take a look at some of the company's key highlights, the voting charge, how they're paid, and what direction the company is heading. We will take a look at some of the company's key highlights, the voting roadmap, what the board actually does, and how it pays its executives. It's like a peek behind the curtain of a major renewable energy player. The chairman and CEO's letter sets an optimistic tone, celebrating Ormat's 60th anniversary. And it's important to remember that this anniversary is not just a celebration of their past achievements, but also a moment to look forward to the future. 2024 was a year of strong results, though they faced some operational challenges. Their adjusted earnings exceeded expectations, and they launched several new storage projects and signed new power purchase agreements. Additionally, their products division secured contracts totaling $250 million. Now let's dive into what's happening at the annual meeting. Stockholders will be voting on 3 key proposals: electing directors, an advisory vote on executive compensation, and ratifying the appointment of their accounting firm. The board is recommending shareholders vote for all their director nominees and both proposals. We'll get into the details of why that recommendation is significant as we move forward. One key item up for vote is the election of 8 directors to the board. A director's job is essential in helping to oversee the company, and understanding who these people are gives valuable insight into the company's direction. One notable change this year is that Mike Nickel will not stand for re-election. He was previously nominated by Orix, an investment company that recently reduced its stake in Ormat, terminating its nomination rights. Let's look at the nominees up for election this year. Isaac Angel is the current chairman of the board. Ravat Barnov has extensive management, financial, and corporate governance experience. Karen Corfey brings expertise in strategic planning, renewables, and sustainability. David Granor offers extensive management, banking, and financial experience. Michelle Maron brings corporate governance and financial experience. Nicole Maron brings corporate governance and financial experience. Nicole Maron brings corporate governance and financial experience. Finally, Byron G. Wong provides an understanding of developing and managing energy projects globally, oceanographic and international experience. Daphne Sharia provides domestic and international financial and legal experience. Stanley B. Stern provides management, strategic analysis, banking, and financial experience. Finally, Byron brings corporate governance and financial experience. Miko Moron brings corporate governance and financial experience. Daphne Sharia provides domestic and international financial and legal experience. To give you a better idea about these nominees, here's a brief overview of some credentials that the board members have, including business management skills, corporate governance, finance, strategic planning, energy sector experience, and international experience. Also considered are factors such as gender and ethnic and racial background, as well as maintaining an appropriate mix of long-serving and newer directors. The fact that no nominee have a specific skill doesn't mean they are not qualified. Rather, this is just what skills the company highlighted. The board also has to make sure that most of its members are independent, meaning they don't have a direct relationship with the company. The board determined that all the director nominees and directors serving during the past year, other than Mr. Angel, are independent. Since the chairman, Mr. Angel, was determined to not be independent, a lead independent director was appointed, Stanley Stern. The board also has committees with different focus areas. Here's a quick look at some of the committee members. Members of the Audit Committee are Mikhail Marome, Karen Corfey, Stanley B. Stern, and Byron G. Wong. Compensation Committee members are Daphne Sharia, Michelle Marom, and Mike Nickel. Nominating and Corporate Governance Committee members are Daphne Sharia, Michelle Marom, and Mike Nickel. Nominating and Corporate Governance Committee members are Daphne Sharia, Michelle Marom, and Mike Nickel. Nominating and Corporate Governance Committee members are Stanley B. Stern. The Sustainability Committee members are Karen Corfey, David Grano, and Daphne Sharia. Investment Committee members are Daphne Sharia, Mikhail Marome, and Mike Nickel, and Stanley B. Stern. The Sustainability Committee members are Karen Corfey, David Granot, and Daphne Sharia. Investment Committee members are David Granot, Mike Nickel, and Stanley B. Stern. The Sustainability Committee members are Karen Corfey, David Granot, Mike Nickel, and Stanley B. Stern. A big question for every company is how much their executives get paid, and this report goes over it. Ormat's executive compensation program consists of 3 elements: annual salary, annual bonus, and equity awards, with an emphasis on at-risk and long-term compensation. The annual bonus is based on company performance, considering both quantitative metrics like revenue and adjusted EBITDA and individual performance. A significant portion of their compensation is in the form of performance stock units, which vest over a 3-year period and are tied to the company's total shareholder return and achieving certain targets. That's what the company means by pay for performance. A significant portion of their compensation is in the form of performance stock units, which vest over a 3-year period and are tied to the company's total shareholder return and achieving certain targets. That's what the company means by pay for performance. The company states that the compensation committee regularly reviews and adjusts compensation programs based on feedback from stockholders, best practices, and compensation trends. At their 2024 annual meeting, about 86% of the vote was in favor of their executive compensation program. In terms of annual compensation, the salaries of the executives are based on different factors like market compensation averages, individual performance, scope of responsibilities. In 2024, the compensation committee did not increase the executive officers' base salaries. Now let's look at how the executive officers performed according to the management plan. Revenue achievement was at 86%, adjusted EBITDA was at 95%, executives' performance at 84%, and CEO goals at 100%. These numbers determined the amounts of bonus earned and paid out. Bonuses are determined based on the level of actual achievement. However, the CEO gets a different approach with one metric that offsets others. Another major detail revealed is that their 3-year performance stock units program resulted in earned at 83.7% of target. PSUs are earned by comparing their total shareholder return to companies in the S&P 500. In simpler terms, that's how the investors did compared to the broad market, with the higher ranking meaning more compensation for the executives. Looking ahead to 2025, the board intends to increase their equity awards and base salary. The board increased the value of equity awards granted to their executive officers for 2025 and increased executives' responsibilities. For the past year, it's always prudent to evaluate the conduct of the board, and the company states that they have adopted a code of ethics that is applicable to all of their employees, executive officers, and directors. A major focus of this section is on the company's policy regarding the purchase, sale, and other dispositions of the company's securities by directors, officers, and employees. It is worth checking out. Something interesting is the transactions that Ormat used to have with Arix, an investment firm. Arix used to own 22.1% of Ormat's common stock. Because of this, they had power to nominate people to the board. However, in December of 2024, Orix sold off a lot of their shares, and so they no longer have these rights. Because of this sale, Mike Nickel will no longer stand for re-election since he was nominated by Orix. Now it's time to get into compliance with the rules. There's an interesting part of the report discussing delinquent reports, which are basically when someone important in the company misses a deadline for reporting their stock ownership. During the past year, our directors, executive officers, and stockholders complied with all applicable filing requirements except that 2 executives, Messrs. Ginsburg and Hatzier, filed a late form which was due to inadvertent administrative oversight. And as usual in these reports, the company adds cautionary note about forward-looking statements. It's very boilerplate, but this kind of statement says that although Ormat believes it can meet its goals, there is a chance it won't due to changing conditions, regulations, and other factors. This is pretty standard. Now looking at these results more broadly, Ormat appears to be in a relatively strong position, particularly due to its experience and focus on geothermal energy. The company's emphasis on performance-based compensation aligns executive incentives with shareholder value as well. Their focus on long-term sustainable energy makes their business attractive. However, the company does operate in a competitive landscape, and changing regulations or technical developments could pose risks to its business. Overall, Ormat seems to be executing well on its strategy. While the All-X stake reduction creates some uncertainty, the company seems to be growing, and it can be expected that it will continue expanding its position in the renewable energy market. If you are looking for a good energy company, consider Ormat. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more corporate decoder videos.